gas. How do I shake the black flag? Sorry, bro.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing.com and PSR TV's presentation of the iRacing Pro Race of Champions, the first annual edition. Tim Terry, Darren Ganji here to call the action. Darren, we're getting ready to see something we haven't seen on the service before. We have over 24 drivers getting ready to go at it, not only in the trucks at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, which you are about to see, but also we got some Mazda racing coming up at Watkins Glen. This is exciting.
This is really exciting, Tim, and I really am pumped up for this race. I can't believe how many pro drivers we've gotten this, in both of these races, true race of champions. This is just going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
And these drivers, of course, are racing for their favorite charities. The top driver after the two races, after the points are tabulated, will get $1,500 for their charity. Second will get $500. Third will get $250. And of course, everybody going for the checkered flag. The first race that we have here this evening, and the drivers are already currently practicing for, is at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 20-minute practice right now up on the board. We have about 13 minutes left in that. They'll be on the racetrack then for qualifying, and then a 25-lap race. Cautions are off, so it's going for broke around Charlotte for 25 laps, and then we're going to turn right afterwards.
Yeah, we sure are, Tim, and some time so far on the board. We've got Chad McCumbee on the top with a 29.877, Scott Speed second with a 29.878, and Brandon Davis with a 29.958.
And I saw Scott Speed earlier in some of the practices doing a little bit of hot lapping, so I think Scott Speed's going to be one to watch. And you go through the list of drivers here. We have drivers from the NASCAR world. We have drivers from the American Le Mans Series. We have drivers from NHRA, the V8 Supercars. The list of organizations goes on and on that's being represented here this evening. We talked about Chad McCumbee, Scott Speed, of course, NASCAR veterans in the last couple of years. How about Timmy Hill, currently fourth in the practice session? I've seen Timmy run. He's run for the Class C Series Championship here on iRacing, which is the officially sanctioned series by iRacing. I think Timmy Hill is going to be one to watch here in the oval race coming up.
Absolutely, and another guy to watch is who's climbing through the standings, David Reagan, NASCAR driver, up in fifth right now with a 30.006 and the 29 Carolina truck. A lot of these guys are iRacers, actually, so a lot of them have experience. You mentioned Scott Speed. I got to say, he's probably one of the favorites here tonight in these trucks.
And also when we go road racing as well, of course, Scott Speed, former Formula One driver, so he knows how to turn right as well. One driver whose team has a little bit of momentum. We should mention as well this evening, these drivers are running fixed setup, so every driver has the same setup on their race truck or their Mazda MX-5 when we do go road racing. They have the same thing underneath their cars. It's going to be the match of skill for the drivers. And to complete the thought that I had there, Cale Gale in the number 33, he goes sim racing. He has a sim racing team, Gale Force Sim Racing, and his driver, Nick Ottinger, has won the last two NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series races. He won last night at New Hampshire, so that team has a lot of momentum. I'm sure Nick is trying to pump up.
Barry Waddell. I haven't seen that name in a while.
Currently 8th on the practice chart.
Yeah, Cale definitely can hold his own. As a matter of fact, I was not familiar with him about a year or so ago. I ran a late model race here on iRacing, and I think I finished third, and I believe he won the race, and I was like, who is this Cale Gale guy? And a buddy of mine was here, and he's like, oh man, he's a NASCAR driver. Sure enough, I've heard his name a bunch now, and I would definitely say he's going to be one of the favorites here today too.
You got a lot of drivers, and the one thing that you mentioned about iRacing, Darren, is the camaraderie. You can go into a race, you can go into a practice session when you get your iRacing account, and you can end up racing against some of these guys. Cale Gale, we have Ron Capps here, of course, from NHRA, Landon Castle, and Landon's put up the Landon Castle qualifying challenge, 2 of them in the last year. So there's a lot of camaraderie in between the members of iRacing and some of the drivers from the real world. Landon Castle gave Jason Loafing and Kenny Humpy a little bit of money for winning the Landon Castle qualifying challenge, and Landon's here tonight trying to put together 25 laps in Charlotte.
Speaking of Landon, currently sitting 6th on the grid in practice with a 30.035. Oh, a little, we've got him on camera here, a little bumping up against the wall, so should be some great racing, man. Like you were mentioning earlier, Tim, fixed setup, so once these guys get going, things are going to be tight.
And with iRacing 2.0 rolling out, they did a fantastic job on the brand new tires on these race trucks. The tires that we had before, they've enhanced them, they wear, they heat up. It's just a fantastic new innovation that iRacing has put together on these tires. So everybody running on the iRacing 2.0 this evening as well. And it's just a matter of, we talked about the setup, you can't push your truck too hard early in the race if you want to be there at the end.
Absolutely, Tim. Tires mean everything, and there's going to be definitely enough laps here to where drop off can mean the difference at the end. So these guys are definitely going to have to save their equipment to be there at the finish, especially if they want to be there up front.
And everybody fairly close on the practice session right now. You have Chad McCumbee on top. He's turned to 29.877. You got Scott Speed 1/1000th behind him. And you look down the list, 24th right now is Dominic Cicero. He ran a 30.562, so everybody is fairly close. Qualifying here is going to mean everything, especially in a race where we have no cautions. You start up front, you have a better chance at walking away with the win.
You just answered my question, Tim. I was just going to ask you, do we have cautions on here for this race? I didn't think we would. 25 laps, not enough to really do much, but with the cautions off, there's definitely plenty to get something going here, and lots of tire wear should happen. Yeah, I'm looking at, we were talking about Landon Castle. He's got a blue stripe on his back, so he's definitely no stranger to iRacing with a license there. Curious, I'm going to go through the field and check some of these other guys and see what kind of stripes they're running.
And you talk about stripes, I'm sure Ian's going to get a couple of camera shots of the back bumpers of these race trucks. These drivers are on iRacing trying to gain their license. When you start out, of course, you start out as a rookie. You're going to have a red stripe on the back of your truck, and then you progress through the D class, which is an orange stripe. You have C class, which is the yellow stripe. B class is a green, and of course the A stripe is blue. And then the Pro Drivers World Championship is black. And we do not have any representatives from the Drivers' World Championship on iRacing, which is the upper echelon of racing on the service. But we do see a lot of blue stripes out here. We see a few green stripes as well. So there's a lot of representation of drivers that have been on iRacing and plugging in the laps.
Absolutely. Scott Speed, we were talking about blue. Kendall spinning through the pits. Rookie stripe. Tommy, get it together, buddy.
Had the opportunity to watch Tommy a little bit earlier at Watkins Glen, and not the fastest out there, but the one thing that caught my eye, very, very smooth, Darren, and that's what you have to have, especially when we go road racing here in just a little while, 10 laps at Watkins Glen. But in these trucks as well, you have to be smooth, you have to know your surroundings, and make sure the traffic doesn't bug you. We saw it a little bit earlier with Landon Castle getting in to a little bit of a scuffle in the practice session. We are about 5 minutes away from going qualifying. Once we hit that strap, or hit that time, we will be going for 4 laps. Everybody will be on the racetrack for their 4 laps of qualifying, and then we will go to race 25 laps around this joint as the drivers getting in their final couple of practice laps here, trying out different lines and testing out their trucks.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Tommy Kendall, as a matter of fact, and he's definitely trying to get a feel for things. Not easy when there's guys spinning though in front of him, but looks like he's got a CXC sponsored truck, and he's at the bottom of the grid. He's definitely feeling his way around. He's actually got some experience in a real Cup car. mostly on road courses. He was a road course ringer, but Tommy Kendall, speaking of road course ringer, I mean, that guy can definitely drive on the road course. Trans Am champion, definitely knows his way around the road course, and that's probably where he's going to feel a little more comfortable.
And you come up off corner number 4 with Tommy Kendall. You're going to come across the line right here, and you're going to get the sights and sounds of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Beautiful racetrack replicated down to the millimeter from iRacing and their laser scanners. You're going to come off turn 2 down the back straightaway. You're going to see that big screen TV on the back straightaway as he works down into 3. Looks like a good line. Just going to pick up the speed a little bit, but that might not be too bad, Darren, if we have a wreck happen in front of him during the race, and I'm sure with 25 laps there will be a couple of wrecks going on in this race.
Yeah, I got a feeling there's going to be a few. What do you think, Tim? You think they're going to make it past lap 1, turn 1?
It all depends where everybody is starting and if everybody gives each other room. I think the drivers that make it to the back straightaway on lap 1 will probably have a better chance at winning the race, and if they can make it on the back straightaway clean. Of course, if you do get some damage to the front end of these race trucks, it's just like a real race car. You get damage to the front end, that thing might very well heat up, and you might have to watch your water temps.
Absolutely. We're taking a look at Joey Logano right now, 16th fastest on the grid in the number 20 truck, fitting. Joey ran for Joe Gibbs Racing this season.
And he comes into the pit area right now, and he's going to woe that truck up after his practice lap there. His last lap was a 30.3. You're looking at the number 27 of Dominic Cicero as he is getting some practice laps in.
Yeah, these guys are all looking pretty good, pretty tight as far as the times go, so should be interesting to see where these guys qualify. And looking down, Bobby Labonte, 30.309. Bobby's got a lot of experience sim racing. He used to, I believe, do a lot of stuff back in the day, NASCAR 2, NASCAR 3. So Bobby's definitely no stranger to sim racing.
I think a driver that we need to watch this evening as well is Shane Van Gisbergen. He's running the number 97. Right now, position number 12, and he's one of those drivers, Darren, that you see on the roadside when you're on the iRacing service. You also see him in these trucks and on the oval side as well. When you look at well-rounded iRacers, Shane is one of those. And right now, I think he has an opportunity, if luck falls his way, to take an overall championship here. And of course, we're looking big picture. The charities get the money after the big picture, not just this oval race, not just the road race.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this, is that the money that these guys win today goes to charity, and really great to hear that they're doing that.
And also Justin Wilson is here from Indycar. We want to welcome him. We're running 17th on the practice chart thus far, 30.194 compared to the top time on the leaderboard right now, which is a 29.877. So these guys are not wasting any time, and I see Coleman Presley and Joey Logano got into it on the back straightaway there. Those guys, as I saw a little bit earlier on Joey Logano's Facebook, they're racing in the same room. So do you think there might be a little bit of trash talking going on back and forth there, Darren?
Oh, I bet. I would definitely imagine so. I mean, if I was one of those guys and about to go head-to-head, I know I'd be doing a little trash talking.
And that's what's great about this event as well. I'm sure we'll see a little bit of trash talking going on between the road racers and the oval racers. I know Ron Capps wants to hold his own as well right now, currently about mid-pack on the practice charts. And I know Ron is looking to get a good finish here this evening. And of course, he has the Napa logo on his race truck right now as he gets a final couple of practice laps in. We are only about 20 seconds away from qualifying here this evening.
And these last few seconds, taking a look at Bobby Labonte in the number 12 truck. Looks like Chad McCumbee is going to be the fast truck in the session with a 29.877. Scott Speed only a thousandth slower, 29.878.
So the clock has switched over, Darren, and we are getting ready to go qualifying. These drivers are on the racetrack on their own, and we are getting ready to watch those guys on the racetrack. They can't see each other. They're on the racetrack against the clock.
Yep, pressure's on. So who do you think? I think Chad McCumbie's definitely looking like the favorite. Scott Speed, Brandon Davis, those guys. Timmy Hill, you mentioned him earlier. Cale Gale, top 5 in practice. So looking to see these guys have a good run in qual.
I think you're going to see Peter Dempsey be fast. He was 6th fastest. How about Brandon Davis? He was a former road racing champion, now driving the NASCAR ovals. He's up in position number 3 in the practice, waiting for these qualifying laps to start to register. And I think Brandon Davis might be one to take the overall championship as well. There are guys here that are very well-rounded when it comes to not only real racing, but also iRacing as well. It transfers over.
Absolutely it does. You know, it's all about car control. You know, car control means everything, so you know, as long as they can translate it over to the sim, they're definitely going to do good tonight.
First few laps beginning to come in, Darren, and Scott Speed already on the top of the board, 29.993. Timmy Hill currently in second, 30.077. Josh Wise is in third, and I know he was earlier in the season running iRacing colors on his nationwide car. Now, Josh Wise is one of those drivers that's on iRacing all the time, and right now currently 5th as he gets bumped back by Coleman Presley and David Reagan, currently top 5 all NASCAR drivers, and now Martin Plowman breaks that up. He's in 5th.
It's actually taking a look at Chad McCumbie. He went out, tried to do a quick run, ended up parking it, came in and is going out again to give it another go.
And that's the great thing about iRacing. Unlike the real world, if you wreck a race car, here at iRacing, you have a reset button. That's the great thing about it. So he may have had a bobble on his lap and decided he wanted to go back to pit road and try another lap. As the top 5 get in, currently Scott Speed in first. How about Landon Castle? Castle up to second. And we talk about the LCQC, the Landon Castle Qualifying Challenge. He's had some hot laps in the first Landon Castle Qualifying Challenge. Happened here at this racetrack in Charlotte.
Yeah, it sure did, and got some other times coming in. Brandon Davis, 30.019. He now in the second spot. Pushed Landon on the third. Timmy Hill, you mentioned him earlier in practice there, Tim. He's got a 30.077, currently in fourth.
Drivers have about 2 more minutes to clock in their times. Coleman Presley right now in position number 5. He'll be one to watch as the final couple of drivers make their times. 24 have already clocked in times in the qualifying session, and it looks like we're going to have about 28 drivers start. So the final couple of laps starting to come in. Scott Speed continues to be on top of the board, 29.976.
Yeah, and Scott's currently the only one to break the 30-second barrier with that 29.9, so see if anybody else in these last few moments can knock Scott off the pole. Scott definitely looking like the favorite.
We're looking at about a minute and change for these drivers to get in their laps. Cale Gale going to move up to position number 6 with a 30.083, just behind Timmy Hill and Landon Castle. Coleman Presley up to position number 3. Great second lap for Coleman Presley. And of course, these guys are running 4 laps, so they have 4 laps to get it done. Presley in with a time of 30.057.
And Tim, check out Van Gisbergen up to 9th on the grid amongst all these NASCAR guys, right in front of David Reagan, as a matter of fact.
How about Brandon Davis to the top of the board, 29.972. The number 10 of Brandon Davis, unless Scott Speed or Coleman Presley or somebody else here can answer in the next 30 seconds, we'll have Brandon Davis starting on the pole for the first race.
Yeah, and he knocked Scott by only 4 thousandths of a second. So quite a lap there by Brandon, taking the pole. So far, so good. Doesn't look like anybody's going to knock him down.
Final couple of seconds tick off, and it looks like Brandon Davis will be on the pole. We are going to run 25 laps here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we are going to shift gears and go road racing with the Mazda MX-5s at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. So it's an exciting format here that we're dealing with tonight, Darren, and it's going to crown the well-rounded overall Pro Race of Champions champion as the drivers begin to grid.
Yeah, I was just checking out who Brandon Davis was. He's a K&N Pro Series West driver, so Brandon definitely showing what he's got in the sim.
My mission is to take out Tommy Kendall.
And he is a former Speed GT champion as well, so he knows how to turn right, and he was running late models at Irwindale, I do believe, last season.
On the N51,
so I
don't you believe it?
That is going to be that's going to be fun to watch.
Can I start from the pit lane?
You know, Tim, I'm hearing some chatter coming from some of the guys. Justin Wilson,
behind me.
They're all Tommy Kendall. They're all giving each other props and hoping that they all have a good race.
If you're not first, you're last.
I have no business being this far up the
And that was Tommy Kendall. If you're not first, you're last.
Amen.
Love it.
So putting out a little bit of smack talk
Hey, look to
before
your right,
they go
Spencer. That
racing.
whole
This is
section of
exciting.
grandstand is all the vegan NASCAR fans.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
This thing's just straight to the end, 25 laps, right?
As the drivers will get
I thought
ready
it
to
was 2
roll
laps.
behind the first racing Ford Mustang pace car. Let's go down our starting
It's probably
grid.
gonna be
Starting
2
on the
laps
front
for
row,
somebody.
Brandon Davis, a time of 29.972. To his
2 laps
outside
is
will be the
optimistic.
41 of Scott Speed.
I was just
And in
thinking,
the second
I would
row, we
consider
have the
lap
number
2 if it
59 of
said.
Coleman Presley next to Landon Castle in the number 18 truck.
Come on, guys. We are all professionals.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Rookie of the Year Timmy Hill starts in 5th as the trucks begin
Yeah,
to
we know
roll.
what
To his
that means.
outside is Cale
I want to see a
Gale.
little give and take out there, boys.
And in the next row, we have Spencer Pompelli and Peter Dempsey.
Tommy Kendall telling
before we get to the
everybody he
road
wants
course.
a little bit of give and take between these drivers. I guess we'll see how that fans out. Shane
Where's the
Van
parachute
Gisbergen
levers
and
at?
David Reagan make up your next row.
Yeah, these guys are having a lot of
The
fun,
escape
followed by
button.
Martin Plowman and Josh Wise in the number 94 truck.
The 11 and 9 are your next row. Matt Plum and Chad McCumbee.
Well, thankfully I'm
And
not
in the
last.
15th
but
spot,
I'm
we
not
have Frank
far
Kimmel
from last.
II and Matt Halliday.
Hey, will someone give
Right
him a
next
hand,
to him.
please?
Joey Logano starts in position number 17. Colin
Funny
Brown
stuff,
starts
Rocky.
in 18th.
Funny stuff.
And the smack talker,
Anybody
Tommy
wanna help a
Kendall
brother out
in the
and tell
number
me what
8
gear to
truck,
start
and
in?
19th, Eric Kern next to him in the number 31.
Second.
Justin Wilson is next in 21st.
Thanks.
Barry Waddell starts in
I was
22nd.
going to tell them first.
Bobby Labonte in 23rd, Joey Hand
Are we going
starting
green this time?
24th.
Trevor Hopwood, Ron Capps, Dominic
Yeah.
Cicero complete your field of drivers that took time in
next
the
time.
qualifying session. We are getting ready to go green flag racing for the first of 25 laps in this evening's event. The
Coming for you,
first
Brandon.
racing
First
Ford
turn.
Mustang pace car will make that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. Brandon Davis and Scott Speed going to lead us to green. 25 laps at Charlotte, and we are underway.
Looks like a little bit of stacking up, middle of the pack. So far, so good, though.
Oh, 59 and 18 make a little bit of contact. Coleman Presley to the inside. Landon Castle to the outside. Timmy Hill looking on
Let's just
from
drive. I'll
position
stay behind
number
you,
5.
David.
Great start for the top 2. Davis and Speed get away.
Speaking of
Probably
the
get
top
a pretty
two,
good comfortable
Speed
lead here if
is
we don't do anything
right
stupid.
on Davis's bumper,
I would agree.
and they definitely made it through lap 1, Tim.
Lap 2, though, getting heavy just behind them. Timmy Hill, Coleman Presley side by side, and I'm hearing we might have a little bit of a wreck in the back.
Yep, we definitely do. Big 2116 reported. Few cars involved. It's like Spencer Pompelli was involved.
Justin
That
Wilson
didn't
was
take me
involved
long.
as well. Heavy front and rear end damage to the number 21.
Two guys did not
That's
see lap
the reason we have the reset button, right?
Yep. Thanks.
Looks like Hopwood took on some damage.
Yeah, with no yellows, it's going to be dodge the wreck.
Your top two, Brandon Davis, Scott Speed, continue to lead. We remind you there are no caution flags, just trying to go over who was involved in that wreck. But as that happened, Darren, Timmy Hill has moved to position number 3. Big move for the youngster. He's passed Cale Gale and Landon Castle, and now he begins to reel in Brandon Davis and Scott Speed. He's got 21 laps to do it. Hill on the move.
Yeah, and he's definitely looking really good right now. Stretching it out in front of Gale, setting his sights on the back of Speed.
Last time by, it was a 1 second advantage between Davis and Timmy Hill. Scott Speed in between, 2 car lengths behind Brandon Davis. As they come across this time by, it looks like Hill may have lost a little bit. Just behind him, Gale and Castle side by side.
Got a great battle here, back for 10th spot. David Reagan, Chad McCumbee, Frank Kimmel II. These guys are all bunched up. Great little battle going on here mid-pack.
And Frank Kimmel II, one driver we never mentioned, but he's on the iRacing service. He races a bunch of hosted sessions as well. GSRacing.net is one of those that he races in each week, as Scott Speed up to the front of the pack as he goes to the top of the leaderboard, makes the pass on Brandon Davis. Maybe Davis letting him get out there and maybe use a little bit of his tires.
These guys are passing some of the trucks that took on some damage after they went into the pits.
I'm definitely down on power.
As we take a look at Scott Speed.
Starting to stretch it out over the number 10 of Brandon Davis, about a truck length in between the top two, and they have the rest of this field covered right now, Darren. 1.3 seconds.
Leader's coming.
These guys are hot lapping it up in front, but is Timmy Hill, Cale Gale, those guys maybe saving something for them?
Well, that would definitely be the smart thing to do. It looks like Cale and Landon Castle are starting to catch up to Timmy. Looks like car 20, Joey Logano, has gone around.
And he's taken David Reagan along with him. Reagan pulls away from the scene. Joey Logano grabs a gear and gets going again, but that was the battle up there for 10th. Oh, Reagan around again on the back straightaway, trying to get going again. That truck's got some suspension damage by the looks of it.
Yeah, it sure does. And almost collected Logano while he was doing that second spin. Logano was able to get through back under power. He looks okay.
And that was for a top 10 position, just at the back end of the top 10. As you look at Chad McCumbee and Coleman Presley side by side, and just behind them you have Josh Wise and
My
Van
drafting partner
Gisbergen
keeps
side by
blinking.
side,
What does that
stacked 2
mean?
deep for position number 6.
Yeah, these guys are going at it. These guys definitely got some experience. I'm seeing blue stripe, yellow stripe,
I think it
blue,
means he likes
green.
it.
So
He's
all
looking at
4
you.
of these guys all have iRacing experience, so they all know what they're doing. Not that
Shane
they
now
don't know
looking
what
to the
they're doing.
Shane's looking to the inside of Josh Wise right now. Oh, he turns him going into corner number 3. Wise up to the wall, and he's going to collect a couple of trucks. In the meantime, Dempsey and Kimmel going to get some damage here.
Wise is definitely going to be done for the day. He flipped
wish
a few
Wilson would
times,
run
took
out
a
of
few
oil.
cars with him too.
Battle
Copy
up
that.
in front.
Can't
Davis
hear him
continues to keep speed in sights. Trevor Hopwood has just gone 1 lap down in the number 25 truck as
I
the
hope
leaders
these
come
people
up off of
wrecking
corner
our
number 4.
position.
Yeah, and the leaders
You
are
gotta
starting
be
to
kidding me.
stretch it out some more from that pack of
Anyone
Cale
else is
Gale,
next
as a matter
door?
of fact, has passed Timmy Hill for 3rd now.
Riding on board with Brandon Davis down the back straightaway, you see a whole lot of speed in front of him as Scott Speed tries to hold off the number 10. I think the 10 might be saving a little bit for that number 41. He knows that it's a 25-lap race. This will be lap 11 completed right here.
So little more than halfway to go here. So lots of time, like you mentioned, lots of time for those tires to drop off. And if these guys are going at it, that's going to give Cale, Timmy, and Landon a chance to catch up.
Landon Castle, Timmy Hill, side by side for position number 4. Timmy was running up in position number 3, and he may have used his tires just a little bit more than the rest of these guys. Castle to the inside, looking for position number 4. Just in front of them, it's Cale Gale running in 3rd.
Looking back a little bit behind these guys, Chad McCumbee running in 6th, about 4.5 seconds back, all by himself. Shane Van Gisbergen, we talked about him early on,
Coming
the
low there.
Aussie V8 Cup driver,
Look.
running in 7th, 6 seconds back.
.33 of Cale Gale passes up Hopwood, as Hopwood will fall back into the clutches now of Castle and Hill, who continue to battle for 4th place, as you see Castle up on the high side.
Oh! Hill and Castle around. Looked like Hill got into the back of Castle.
Oh, tough break for those guys there. They were battling for a top 5 spot. Timmy Hill gets going again. It looks like Timmy didn't hit anything, so his truck might not be damaged other than maybe a little bit of flat spot on the tires. But he grabs a gear and gets going again, but he's going to lose a whole lot of positions. If he's looking for that overall championship, Darren, that's going to hurt him.
Absolutely it is, and I'm looking at Landon Castle's truck. Back end, rear end definitely has a little bit of damage, and got a feeling that was from Timmy.
Scott Speed continues to lead here. The 10 of Davis in 2nd, and they're dodging around in front of them. One of those was Joey Logano. Not sure the other number in there.
Wow.
That's the 34, as they get collected just at pit road entry.
They definitely stuck through it, man. It's getting crazy with these trucks. You know, a lot of these guys that had damage early on coming back onto the track, and you know, cars. You know, without the cautions, anything can happen in this race.
And it looks like Davis may have slowed up a little bit. This battle that was right nose to tail is about 4 or 5 truck lengths now in between your top 2. Scott Speed stretching it out a little bit, this time by 9 laps to go.
Wonder if that's Brandon saving tires or ran out of tires.
It's definitely going to be something to watch. Frank Kimmel the second looking at Plowman for position number 6. Great run for the 23 thus far. Martin Plowman trying to get a top 10 finish right now in 6th place, but he's got Kimmel all over his tailgate.
He sure does, and right behind him, Matt Plum in the number 11 truck, watching these guys from behind in the 8th position.
I think he might be licking his chops right now trying to catch these two as they battle for position. He's got a few laps to do it as we work lap number 18 at 25.
Yeah, he knows if they start scrapping, he's definitely got a chance to get up there with them.
Don't wreck me, Tommy.
Looks like Landon Castle warning Tommy to stay off his bumper, as Landon Castle right now running in position at number 12 as he tries to recuperate from the wreck that he had with Timmy Hill. Timmy Hill runs in position number 10 right now.
Taking a look at Landon's last lap times, 31.064, before that 31.036. The lap where he spun a 46.8, before that a 31.0, so he hasn't really lost any time compared to where he was before the incident with Timmy, so looks like he's back to okay.
And Scott Speed continues to tack on time on his lead, Darren. Brandon Davis now over a half second behind Speed. And with 5 laps to go this time by, Chad McCumbee is around in the number 9. Oh, heavy contact into the wall.
Could have collected a lot of trucks there, but luckily he got down low. So it looks like Chad McCumbee, who was running in the 4th position, is now done. Well, he's trying to get around, but there's not much left of that truck.
Scott Speed continuing to lead and continuing to extend the lead on a Brandon Davis as
you guys are all messed
will move
up.
Van
Fall off the
Gisbergen
track.
up to position at number 4 as he puts a lap on the number 34 truck up high. That's Pumpely as they go down the back straightaway.
Going to give you guys a quick rundown of the top 10. Scott Speed still leading the way by about a half a second over Brandon Davis. Cale Gale third. Shane Van Gisbergen 4th, Martin Plowman 5th, Frank Kimmel the 2nd, 6th, Matt Plum 7th, Colin Brown 8th, Timmy Hill 9th, Bobby Labonte up to 10th.
And Bobby dodging all the wrecks right now, and I think we mentioned that off the top of the show, Darren. If you can dodge the wrecks and get out of trouble, you might be able to come out with a top 10 finish. Landon Castle, Matthew Halliday, Joey Hand, and Ron Capps complete the drivers that are on the lead lap right now.
Hold them out back there,
as we are coming up on the checkered flag here in just a couple of laps time. Next time by, they'll have 2 laps to go.
Brandon Davis only
just came on the track.
0.29 seconds, so 0.2 of a second behind Scott Speed. Think he might have been saving his tires, Tim.
And the leader coming up on lap traffic. This might very well hinder the progress of Scott Speed. Just in front of your leader is Eric Curran, as Curran is on the lap down list right now, as Scott Speed's having trouble getting around him. It's going to close in Brandon Davis.
A little low, Spencer.
I don't think he's going to have enough time to get a run, though, there, Tim. Looks like Scott might be able to take it to the checkers here.
They're going to come to the white silk this time by. 1 more lap to go for Scott Speed. If Brandon Davis has anything, this is the time to show it. White flag has flown. Speed holds the lead over Davis. That lap truck no longer a factor right now. Was Speed possibly toying with Brandon Davis? Davis trying to close back in, but Speed has put the hammer down the back straightaway. We're going to come to the checkered flag this time by. Speed and Davis, your top 2. And it looks like it's all number 41. Working up at a corner number 4, the oval portion of the iRacing Pro Race of Champions goes to Scott Speed. Brandon Davis is in second, Cale Gale third.
Good race, dude.
And Van Gisbergen still back there in completing the race. And actually, he's slow on the back straightaway, Darren.
Yeah, looks like he may have some trouble. There's trucks everywhere spinning in front of him. He's just kind of limping home. I don't know. He's definitely not going to finish where we thought he was. Plowman 4th, Kimmel the 2nd, 5th, Brown 6th, Plum 7th, Bobby Labonte up to 8th, Van Gisbergen just dropping like a rock.
He's going to be outside the top 10. Landon Castle going to come home in 9th, and Matthew Halliday completes your top 10. Looks like Van Gisbergen will finish in position number 13.
I can't even do no
that's
burnout.
tough for that number 97, especially how good he is on the road courses. That's going to hinder him at getting up into the overall champion, which, of course, gets $1,500 for his charity of choice.
Was just taking a look at what happened, and he actually blew his motor as he crossed the line for that white flag lap, so must have been pushing it just a little too hard.
Sure, ready when you are.
So now there's a couple of moments now. You have to get to the road race, qualify in for that road race, and then it's 10 laps at Watkins Glen International. Darren, what do we expect out of that Mazda race?
I don't know. I think Scott Speed's looking like our favorite. You know, we've got he was the favorite coming in here to the trucks, and someone had told me that he likes that Mazda too. So I got a feeling Scott Speed's the man to watch go back to back here.
Let's take this opportunity to step away for just a few moments while we get set for the road portion of the iRacing Pro Race of Champions, race number 2, coming up after this.
Says he...
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real-world cars and tracks. Thousands of race fans and scores of pro racers like Dale Jr. and Justin Wilson are already racing at iRacing. Experience the thrill of victory yourself and go racing today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the iRacing Pro Race of Champions here on PSR TV and iRacing.com. And Darren, what an action-packed first race that we saw. Scott Speed and Brandon Davis leading the field. And there was a few drivers that were running up front. We're going to take a couple of looks through the race that were running up front, and they had circumstance, let's say, take them out of a top 5 finish.
Yeah, there was lots of circumstance going on there, Tim. You said action when we came back, and man, that was definitely the word. There was a lot of action going on there, and we had 12 trucks finish on the lead lap, and man, there was lots of dodging going on there by those lead lap trucks, and good job by Scott Speed to get through the carnage to take the win.
Joey Logano had a tough run in that race in the number 20. Looking down to see where Joey finished. Joey finished 23rd, so I'm sure that's not what he wanted, but he'll try to rebound on the road side. There's a lot of drivers that had tough runs. You talk about Shane blowing the motor on the last lap, Timmy Hill and Landon Castle coming together. There was just so much action in that first race. Scott Speed and Brandon Davis, they had their share of action as well. Speed led 21 laps. Brandon Davis was out in front for 4, and they finished nose to tail at the end. The margin of victory was 0.345 seconds.
Yeah, that was a good little battle there to the finish. They, Scott and Brandon definitely weaved their way through the mess and had a good finish. And I thought Brandon was going to give Scott a run there at the end, but he just didn't have it for him. And you'd mentioned Van Gisbergen had a great run last lap, grenaded the motor at the start-finish line, and right when he took the white flag.
And guys looking to rebound, you're going to see guys like Tommy Kendall have to come back from a 19th place finish in this race. Ron Capps finished back in 20th. David Reagan was up in front. He finished 21st 4 laps down. There are so many guys that were running up front that just had problems and couldn't overcome those. Josh Wise finished dead last. He'll be looking to turn right and hopefully turn right into a podium finish at Watkins Glen.
Justin Wilson. Actually, we're looking at the pass for the lead. Scott Speed over Brandon Davis. Just mentioning Justin Wilson back in the pack. 25th he finished. Definitely going to be a guy that we're going to that could have something for these guys on the road course. And if some of these road course guys have a good finish here, that could really shake up the points.
It very well could. Speed, good on road courses. Davis, good on road courses. Then you have some guys back there that are looking to rebound. I think right now, after the oval race, I think your favorites right now have to be Speed and Davis. I saw Speed hot lapping a little bit earlier at Watkins Glen, and I think he's going to have something for these guys when we go racing.
Absolutely. The hands-down favorite here today. Who else we got that might give these guys a run? What do you think Tommy Kendall's going to have for these guys?
I think Tommy Kendall is going to be one to watch here. He was at Watkins Glen earlier doing some practice laps. We're going to step away for just a few moments' time to get set up for the qualifying session and also the race at the Watkins Glen International for the iRacing Pro Race of Champions. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Watching the pass for the lead in the oval portion of the iRacing Pro Race of Champions, Scott Speed making the move on Brandon Davis and holding him off. It looked like at the end, Darren, that Brandon was going to reel him in. They came up to some lap traffic, and I don't know if Brandon was a little bit timid on that lap traffic or just didn't want to put the pressure on Speed. He had the opportunity to if he wanted to, but he ended up finishing in second place, which might not be too bad when we look at the grand scheme of things after this road race.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head there, Tim, that he may have just been looking towards the second race, you know, and just hanging back there. With all the carnage going on around those guys, it was probably best just to hang back and hope he can take it to Speed here in the second one.
So looking at the highlights of this event, Darren, there were some wrecks, there were some great battles side by side. The battle at the start of the race between the likes of Timmy Hill and Cale Gale, Landon Castle, side by side, those guys were not wasting any time and not holding anything back.
I don't think any of these guys were holding anything back, you know, besides the charity money on the line. You know, a lot of the egos are on the line here. You could tell by the way these guys were talking before they went to green, and you know, none of them wanted to finish last. You know, Tommy Kendall finished first, or what was his saying at the beginning of the race, Tim?
Well, there was a lot of them being thrown around by Tommy Kendall at the start of that race. I know he was one of those ones in there that was throwing around a lot of the smack talk, and I'm sure it's not going to end here. I'm sure the second race, where it's really Tommy's cup of tea at the road course, I think we'll see Tommy up near the front of the field.
Yeah, he could be. You know, it's going to depend on his experience in a sim. You know, it's definitely a different cup of tea. But I got a feeling Tommy's running in a CXC simulator. I know Tommy and a friend of mine, Chris Considine, are friends, and they live close by, and they've known each other for a while. So Tommy could be running in a full motion simulator.
And we talked about that off the top of the show as well. These drivers racing from the comfort of their own homes or in a simulator. That's the great thing about this, that they're not all together. They're racing from different places around the world. And while we have the opportunity, I see Sean Siff from iRacing has stepped in the booth. Sean, what an event this is, and right now waiting for the second race. Fantastic first half.
Oh yeah, that was totally awesome. That was one of the coolest things, I think, in sim racing history, if I can be so bold, but certainly for iRacing and for all of our members. What an awesome race. That was really exciting.
Now from a promoter standpoint, how did this all come together this evening?
Well, you know what? It started about 2 months ago. We reached out to as many drivers as we could, and you know, it's a hard thing to coordinate so many drivers' schedules. But it's really awesome to see everybody come in, and it seemed like they had a great time.
Now, looking forward here to this road race, I know you've seen a couple of those drivers out there. We talked about Tommy Kendall throwing some smack talk down. Who do you think we're going to see in victory lane at Watkins Glen?
Oh boy, Tim, that's a tough question. There are so many possibilities. I guess I'd have to go with, I think Brandon Davis has a pretty good shot at running things again. Although don't kind of count out Justin Wilson. He's won at Watkins Glen, you know, in real life. I think it's going to be just a lot of fun to see who makes it.
Now, I know we have some fans out there that are seeing iRacing for the first time. They're thinking, I want to get involved in this. I want to race with Joey Logano online. I want to race with guys like Brandon Davis. How can they get in the driver's seat on iRacing?
Yeah, you know, really, we try to make it as simple as we can. You need a gaming PC, you need a wheel and pedal set, and you're good to go. Really, it's that simple. A lot of these guys enjoy running iRacing. You know, they're on there at night. Maybe after a race. It's really cool to see those guys in sessions when you're just going into practice. It's really neat. It's very unique.
And once again, iRacing.com, and I believe the special is still going on over there, isn't it, Sean? If you buy 1 month, you're a new subscriber, you get 2 for free.
You got it, the 3-for-1 special, right on our website, www.iracing.com.
And you can race in many different race cars. We're featuring the Chevrolet Silverado this evening, the Mazda MX-5 Cup, but there's so many choices that you can run, not only if you're a roads fan, but also the oval content. There's lots of content to go around.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, it's all about what you want to do. iRacing lets you start your own racing career online. So if road racing, sports cars is your thing, we've got that. If you like NASCAR racing, we've got that. And if you like open wheel racing, we've got that too.
Little bit of everything over here at iRacing.com, getting set up for the second event at the Watkins Glen International Racecourse. Darren, what do we look for in this race? These guys are going to get right into it here with qualifying. Do we see one of those oval guys maybe come up and challenge for a win here?
You know, that's definitely a possibility. You know, Bobby Labonte back in the day was actually a road course guy too, and finished 8th in the first race. If he has a good qualifying run here, we could see him, you know, battling for the lead possibly.
And now drivers out on the racetrack for a 30-minute open qualifying session, so everybody on the racetrack at the same time trying to put in a quick lap. And the great thing about iRacing is, Darren, that if you drop a tire off the racetrack, you get what they call a 1x penalty, which means your lap in qualifying will not count. So this is where it comes into play. You have to keep all the rubber on the road and not duck a tire off.
Yeah, and they're going to have 30 minutes in qualifying to do that. And, yeah, that good lap can be just gone if, like you said, they get a 1 times for any reason. And watching some of these guys right now going around, let's see if I got some lap times. Actually, they're going straight to qualifying, as a matter of fact. There's just going to be a 30-minute qualifying session and then a 10-lap race.
We're going to take an opportunity just to step away, and we will bring you live qualifying action in just a few moments' time. Don't go away.
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real-world cars and tracks. Thousands of race fans and scores of pro racers like Dale Jr. and Justin Wilson are already racing at iRacing. Experience the thrill of victory yourself and go racing today at iRacing.com.
iRacing 2.0 is about how far we have come as a service and also about our biggest release coming this August.
When we launched the service in 2008, we knocked on a lot of doors to try to build partnerships, and we only had a couple series that were running. And here we are, we've progressed to the point where we have 24 official series that are going on with 1,500 official races a week.
The engine's revving, here we go, it's green time, we are going racing, and here comes LaSource.
3 years later, in 2011, we have partnerships with NASCAR, Indycar, McLaren, Williams, Grand Am, and all of the major North American road courses and ovals. And we're spread across the globe now into Japan, into Europe, and Australia. And it's pretty exciting to see that we've come so far.
But today...
Welcome back to iRacing.com and PSR TV's presentation of the iRacing Pro Race of Champions. The second race at Watkins Glen International. The first race just wrapped up at Charlotte, and now we are going to turn right. Tim Terry, Darren Ganji here to call all the action for you. And Darren, they are into qualifying with the Mazda MX-5 cars, and these guys are getting it done around Watkins Glen.
They sure are. They're about a third of the way through, as a matter of fact. So far, Brandon Davis, we just talked about him, sitting on the pole with a 127.719, followed by Shane Van Gisbergen. Man, if he didn't blow that motor, sitting at second right now, 127.772. Scott Speed sitting in third, 128.240. So, like we mentioned, Scott Speed definitely looking good to take this thing if he stays out of trouble in this second race.
And how about the oval guy up there in fourth, Cale Gale, in the number 33, 128.594. The pole should be around that 127 bracket, Darren. And with these race cars, draft is going to come into play. If you got one or two cars that you can pull down the straightaway, you're going to have a decent lap.
Yeah, speaking of Cale Gale, right now him and Timmy Hill are trying to work together to do just that. See if they can work the draft and get a better lap in. And these guys are hopping these cars everywhere. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I saw Timmy Hill earlier in a practice session as he goes side by side with Cale Gale, trying to get that lap, get that perfect run. And right now he's trying to do it again as Cale Gale slaps the wall going into the chicane, and that's going to be a 4X. He's going to have to go back to pit road and try it again.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to see a few of those right there in that exact spot in this race, unfortunately. But yeah, that one hurt pretty bad.
Tommy Kendall out on the racetrack battling and trying to get a lap in, and it looks like he might have to come back to pit road and possibly get another run in there. It looks like he's slow getting up to speed.
Yeah, we talked about Tommy too. Definitely an accomplished road racer, SCCA Trans Am champion, multi-time champion. I think that guy holds the record for like the most wins in a row in that series when it existed. But off in the gravel again. Tommy's struggling to get a hold of this little Miata. Van Gisbergen on the pole right now with a 127.637. So the Aussie V8 driver looking good.
And I know he was drafting with Colin Brown, and I believe he still is as well. So trying to get a little bit of a draft on the back of the car. And actually, that may very well be Josh Wise in front of Shane, and indeed it is. So he's trying to get a little pull off Josh Wise to better his lap that's currently sitting on the pole.
Yeah, as they come out of the carousel, he's definitely doing that. These guys are nose to tail. In car right now with Van Gisbergen, as he's trying to better his current pole position lap. Looks like he might be trying to help out Josh Wise too.
And Josh currently 7th quick of the 20 that have taken time at a 128.990. They come off the final corner and they'll run down the front straightaway. Josh Wise looking to better his lap right now. Will he do it? It's a 128.440. That moves him to position number 4.
Yeah, looks like that toe helped him a little bit, or push actually. It looks like what he got from Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen still sits on the up at the top of the grid. Got about 13 minutes elapsed here in this 30-minute qualifying session.
So there's about 17 minutes left to go for these drivers to get a lap in. I see Cale Gale is out here putting some laps in with Peter Dempsey as they try to get some laps on the board and get a little bit of draft to get near the top of what Shane has put up with a 127.637.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Kimmel.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the way to do it with the draft there.
So coming up off the final corner, you see Scott Speed, Bobby Labonte. They work down the front straightaway now. Bobby looking to put in a lap and going in maybe a little bit hot into corner number 1. Going to drift up off and going to lose the back end of Scott Speed.
Yeah, he almost got into the back of him. That was a nice save by Bobby as he's getting past now as they come up the hill to the long straight here at Watkins Glen.
And just behind him now is Timmy Hill, the Nationwide Rookie of the Year from this season. And look at the pack of cars that is now starting to build. And I'm not sure, some of those might be a hindrance compared to drafting for guys like Scott Speed, who are on the clock and on a flying lap.
Yeah, Scott is definitely on a flyer. He's
it shouldn't
he's looking to take the pole right now.
You'll see a little green thing come up, I think.
As he's at the back of this pack.
Joey Hand, it's an honor to race with you.
Seeing if he can get a draft off Labonte.
Getting a great pull down the straightaway, looking to make something happen, and they have about 4 cars ahead of them. They got 1 slow car, and I believe that might be the number 26.
It's an honor to race with you, Joey.
As they're trying to get up to speed. Scott Speed off the racetrack. Right. Oh, boy.
I'm stinking the place up, man. I'm thinking I got way too much rear bias. I got...
Timmy Hill just zipped right through there.
Hard to drive.
I think that all started off that corner where Scott Speed drifted a little bit wide and came back down. Oh boy, big action there. Scott Speed, though, it's not really going to hurt him as much. He already has the 3rd quickest time on the board at a 128.240. But of course, every race car driver wants to go a little bit faster, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Speed, you know, he was up there for that first race and right now sitting 3rd. I'm sure he wants to try to sit on the pole to get away from some of this trouble. You know, would we have a standing start here, Tim? I'm not sure.
I believe we do. We'll have to find out for sure, but I do believe it may very well be a standing start, so that might very well play into effect as well.
Yeah, so if any of these guys get caught sleeping on the grid, then there could be some trouble.
So this is the only
before
setup
we even
can
get
run,
to turn
right?
one.
The
So hopefully these
setup
guys catch the
it had
green
on it.
and get a good start.
And I know that's one thing we talk about during the Drivers' World Championship on the road side, and I know you're familiar with that. Going down into corner number 1 off a standing start, we're going to have 24 drivers trying to funnel their way into that first corner. That could very well get hairy.
A little bit.
Yeah, we definitely had some incidents in the Road World Championship this year.
Kale, we're not
on the grid. We had an explosion at one of the races, so hopefully we don't see anything of that here today at Watkins, and these guys get off clean into turn 1, and hopefully they have a good first lap like we did at Charlotte.
And you're looking off the rear bumper of the 16 of Peter Dempsey, and that's one thing that these drivers are getting a chance to do as well in this qualifying session. Being at open qualifying, they're getting a chance to run in a traffic and try to figure out their surroundings and what they can and can't do around some of the other drivers.
Yeah, and even though they are going for a fast lap, they can still at least push it to see, what the limit of these cars are. I would imagine at least a few of these guys have little to no experience in this car. So this is a good chance for them to, get a feel for the tires, see what it's like around traffic, and, hopefully stay out of trouble.
Mine's way down on power. Oh, watch out, Shane.
It's one of those things, how hot can I go into the corner?
Yeah, sure
how far can I push the car, as we're looking at the number 12 of Matthew Halliday. Watched him a little bit earlier in some of the practice sessions that were up on the iRacing service, and he was fairly quick as well and just waited for stuff to happen in front of him. I think the 12 might be maybe a sleeper in this field.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good with a 129.223 right in the middle of the pack. About 2 seconds off the pace, but you know what? You never know what's going to happen in this race, especially with that standing start. Shane Van Gisbergen still sits on the pole. Brandon Davis second with a 127.719, followed by Scott Speed. Scott's shaved some time down to the 127s now. Still going after Van Gisbergen. I don't know if he's going to have time to run him down. Little more than 10 minutes remaining in the session.
17 car just hitting the track of Scott Speed, so he'll get up to speed on this lap here and see what he has to see if he can better that lap that he currently has. The top 3 are under the 1 minute 28 second bracket. Van Gisbergen, Davis, and Speed, your top 3, and Speed getting a little help on this run from Josh Wise.
Speaking of Wise, he's sitting in 4th right now. I'm going to give you guys some other drivers through the field here. Wise in 4th, 128.440. Chad McCumbee 5th, 128.476. Looking at him right now. Matt Plum in 6th with a 128.501. Cale Gale 7th, NASCAR driver, up in the 7th spot. Frank Kimmel the 2nd in 8th. Martin Plowman in 9th. Joey Logano rounding out the top 10.
And back to 15th place, you see Justin Wilson up there in position number 11. Peter Dempsey in 12th. 13th, Timmy Hill. He'll be looking for a little bit better than the 129.215 he's put up so far. Matthew Holliday and Colin Brown, your top 15. That's half your field right now. 25 have taken time on the racetrack as Justin Wilson has put his name up into position number 7.
Yeah, Justin's looking really good. We mentioned him coming into this race that he had a bad finish at Charlotte, but looking really good with a 128.5, only about a second off. Man, Van Gisbergen with a 127.6. I know he was going out for another lap, so I think he's trying to even better that one.
Colin Brown hard into the wall, as you just saw there. He's going to go back out on the racetrack and get another lap in. That's the great thing about the reset button, or what we call in iRacing a quick toe. You get the reset button, you go back to your pit, brand new car.
Yeah, and I was just watching Frank Kimmel the 2nd, and he needed one of those brand new cars, just went sliding off into the grass. Looking at number 25 car, Barry Waddell, 3-car pack right here.
And you see Scott Speed fall to the back of this pack. Maybe he's trying to get a little bit of that pull. He wants first place, and I'm sure there's a little bit of trash talking going on between some of those drivers as Speed letting the rough side right there as he's going to dump a wheel and get hit going in the carousel.
Yeah, and time's running down now, about 8 minutes left. Scott's going back out. He's not giving up. Scott definitely wants that pole. Van Gisbergen's still out there, though, too. He's in a little pack of cars. As things start to wind down here, a little less than 7 minutes left. Van Gisbergen still on the pole with a 127.637, followed by Brandon Davis 127.719, excuse me, and Scott Speed with a 127.772. Taking a look at the number 1 car of Coleman Presley as he's struggling to get around here. Definitely a rookie here with a not even a paint job on this car. Yeah, Coleman's only got a 133.498, so he bounces off the wall. Definitely struggling to get around here. Take a look at Shane Van Gisbergen as he's trying to better his pole lap. He was just getting a toe off of Timmy Hill. As he comes to the line, let's see what he's got. 127.485. Shane Van Gisbergen just bettering his lap. That's going to make it tough for Scott Speed at this point.
That's nearly 0.3 of a second between your top two. Now Davis, Speed, Wise, and now Curran, your top 5. But Timmy Hill bettered his lap as well. Timmy Hill up to position number 12 in the number 15. So that's going to be one to watch as well. And I know, Darren, you're sitting in a field. Where would you rather be starting on a standing start? Obviously, the middle is probably not the optimal place.
Up front, absolutely, is where I'd want to be. There's, up front, you definitely have less of a chance of somebody snoozing and getting caught up in something. So, up front, you got clean sailing.
So it looks like the pole sitter and Timmy Hill have had some trouble on the racetrack as some more drivers get back out on the racetrack to get that one more lap in. Less than 5 minutes to go.
And we're taking a look at Tommy Kendall, who's actually struggling to get up to speed here, only a 131.710. And Tommy's hoping to, I'm sure, get into the 29s at least as he comes to the line.
And Tommy right now on that flying lap, as you mentioned, trying to get that one lap in. Right now, his time on the racetrack is a 131.7, so I'm sure he's going to want to better that a little bit here on this lap.
Yeah, I got a feeling on that last one he may have got a one-times or something because he didn't get a time counted, so hopefully he can get a good lap in. About a little less than 4 minutes remaining as we ride in car with Tommy Kendall.
Trying to get the couple of tenths that he needs to move up the board. Of course, the next driver on his list would be Dominic Cicero, 2/10 of a second in front of him on the speed chart. So he's looking to pick it up just a little bit. Tommy Kendall, I'm sure, does not want to start in position 26. So it might be a great time to practice the wreck avoidance.
Absolutely, because I'm sure we're going to see some of it again in this race, just like we did at Charlotte a little while ago. I don't think it's going to be as bad here because Charlotte, you're kind of stuck, on that oval. Here at the road course, these guys are going to have a little bit of room to stretch their legs and, lots of runoff too. So if there's any trouble, we may not see as much carnage as we did at Charlotte.
Eric Kerr in the number 31 is 5th fastest right now as you see him trying to put together one more lap. We have about 2.5 minutes left in this session. So these drivers are focused right now on getting that fast lap.
Yeah, and I was just watching Tommy Kendall finish out his lap. He was able to almost get into the 130 range. He had a 131.086, so he's still coming to grips with the car and the track, but definitely still shaving time.
And that'll have him starting beside Ron Capps right now. And I know the reaction time for Ron Capps when he races the NHRA car is pretty good. So I think you're going to see Ron be good on the start, but he's going to have to be good from 23rd place.
Yeah, he's going to have to get through a lot of corners to make up some ground. But yeah, you're right, man. That's going to be interesting to see, Tim, what he can do on the line. He is the NHRA driver, so it's all about reaction time for those guys.
Oh, Scott Speed just got into a wreck in the carousel looking for a number on that other car. Heavy contact for Scott Speed as he was trying to put together one more lap, and I don't think he's going to get there as we have less than 2 minutes to go.
Taking a look at the replay of that wreck. Looks like it was him and Tommy Kendall that got into each other. We're watching Matt Plum sitting in the 7th spot, 128.501 is his current lap. In car with him, as a matter of fact. He's right next to Peter Dempsey, right behind Peter Dempsey at the moment, as they climb the hill.
And that's Bobby Labonte just ahead of these two drivers as they work down. Looking at the chicane coming up as they try to get the final lap in, and it's going to be close. 10 seconds or so before we head over, and I don't think they're going to get this lap counted. So we are getting ready to go green racing once again for 10 more laps of action at Watkins Glen.
Dempsey was just hard into the wall there. Looking at Labonte's time, he was able to break out of the 130 with a 129.999, so pretty decent lap there for Bobby Labonte.
Justin Wilson completing his qualifying lap, as is Joey Hand, and Bobby Labonte going to come and complete his lap. These drivers have about 45 seconds to register their final laps. They were counting down those final few seconds there, and that was to begin their lap to make sure they are at the line to start their final lap.
I think we got some of the drivers talking to each other now, a little smack talking now that qualifying's coming to a close. And I believe we have Scott Speed's going to join us here in a moment. Tim's trying to track him down. So at the end of qualifying, Shane Van Gisbergen with a 127.485 takes the pole. followed by Brandon Davis with a 127.719.
As these guys begin to line up, let's see if we can't get a hold of Scott Speed before we go green. Scott Speed, you got your ears on?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Starting in position number 3, you're going for that big trophy. Can you get it done here at Watkins Glen? Is there anybody you're concerned about in this field?
We'll see.
Getting ready to get the green light on. Good luck to you.
I have to pee.
All right, there was Tim Terry with Scott Speed. Not much to say. He's focused, ready to go.
Launch control, right?
These guys are getting ready to, green flag's getting ready to drop.
Yeah, it's the lack of.
And as are a lot of these drivers, Darren, want to get them focused. I see a couple of drivers on the grid saying good luck. They've got 40 seconds left before they put on the green light. Those guys are focused ahead of them right now, not what anybody's saying on the radio.
Don't forget to put the clutch in.
Thanks for that.
Why don't we just listen in here, Tim, see what these guys have to say.
Anybody know why the car is moving?
I thought it was because I was on beer number 12.
I think that's the raw horsepower.
And they're starting to rev their engines. And here we go. 10 laps at Watkins Glen.
Don't give me a stop and go. I just didn't know what I was doing. I just lurched before the green.
It looks like everybody's got away clean from the starting line, Darren. It's just a matter if they can get through turn number 1 clean.
Ooh, Scott Speed almost got into the back of Van Gisbergen. No, sorry, that was Davis, but clean so far, so good. Oh, see a little bit of trouble. Looks like
and
the
that's
17 got around. Scott Speed out.
That is huge. Joey Hand is also around, and I believe Joey Hand tried to avoid Scott Speed's idle car, and he's going to have to go back to pit road.
Yep, looks like Joey Hand just got into the back of Speed, turned him around. Can't imagine Speed's too happy.
The number 2 with Josh Wise, you can see the hand movements in the car. He is trying to stay ahead of a pack just behind him, and it involves Chad McCumbee, Frank Kimmel, and Timmy Hill among them.
Comes at 21 of Matt Plum. Oh, getting past actually by Curran.
This is no good. I have a 2-minute tow time.
Plum will have none of it though, trying to pass him back. Oh, the outside.
Oh, these guys are going at it, not letting anything back at this point as they are going for every single position. Are we going to see 3 wide here?
I think we might. They are going for it into turn 1.
Oh, there's a turn up here, guys. Oh, Josh Wise gets involved. Oh, Timmy Hill hard into the tires.
They're not done.
Colin Brown got through that, but I believe Josh Wise and Dempsey were 2 that were involved in the wreck, and they are going to head back to pit road and get a fast tow. Their cars are destroyed right now.
Eric Curran, Timmy Hill, both involved. Lots of cars involved in that one. It was just a big chain reaction there, wasn't it, Tim?
And that's what happens when you're running up in front of the field and you have so many cars bearing down behind you. We talked about missing the big one at Charlotte. I think we just had the big one here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, we sure did, Tim. Joey Logano battling for the 4th spot.
And they're trying to track down Matt Plum in front of them. Joey Logano trying to hold off Martin Plowman. And he's no slouch on a road course. Joey Logano showing his road course skills right now, up in the top 5.
Yeah, he's looking really good. Right up ahead of him, Matt Plum and Chad McCumbee are battling it out. And we haven't talked much about the leader, Tim. Shane Van Gisbergen just running away with this thing. Second half lead over Brandon Davis.
Oh, McCumbee got up into the berm in corner number 1. He has to chase that car up, and Matt Plum is right there looking to make a move on Chad McCumbee for position number 3. Fantastic battle.
Matt Plum bumping him, taking a look.
Kale, drop it inside of me here.
We watch the battle for third here as they enter the inner loop.
What a great run there by McCumbee to extend that lead right now, and just behind them, I believe, Darren, that Martin Plowman has made a pass and looking to find Joey Logano, and he is off in the inner loop.
I'm now 2 laps down. I think I can make it up.
Lots of cars. Oh, big trouble behind him. Cars everywhere.
Where's the reset button?
Ron Capps involved in this one. Cicero was the one that got big air, and that all started when Logano was trying to grab a gear and get going again. One car had to swerve to avoid, and then everybody piled in behind.
And Logano just took off like nothing happened.
And Cicero is all jacked up in the back end, and now he's going backwards. He's going to hit the wall again for good measure. Tough break for Cicero. He was up in the top 10.
Yeah, looks like that car's done for the day, Tim.
So his scoring begins to loop through. Shane Van Gisbergen once again up in front of the field. 1.5 seconds on Brandon Davis. Davis is looking like he's going to have the upper hand on this championship battle.
Just taking a look back at the battle for 7th. Cale Gale, Colin Brown, and Frank Kimmel II, nose to tail.
And Frank Kimmel II is no slouch on road courses on this simulation. He is a C-Class driver, and I know he did some racing back a couple of weeks ago with GSRacing.net when the trucks went to Watkins Glen. So he's no slouch at turning right either. He's got 2 cars in front of him. Wouldn't be surprised to see him mix it up with Cale and Colin for that position.
Well, Colin, just looking at him, he is a... car 5 around. Colin Brown.
And it's a little bit shorter on the back end now. He gets going again, but I'm sure that car's not going to handle as it did when he was battling with Cale and Frank.
No, absolutely not. That back end's pretty torn up.
And they are working lap number 4 right now, so we are coming close to that halfway point in this race, and Shane not letting any of the pressure up. It's now 1.4 seconds. Looks like Davis's last lap was just a little bit better than Shane's.
Speaking of laps, let's take a look at Shane's last lap, a 128.180.
Towing again. I think it's time
to Brandon's 128.086. So Brandon's definitely whittling away at that lead.
The worst thing is a 10th a lap won't do it at this point, as they have 6 laps to go. And he would need 14 laps in order to catch him at a 10th a lap.
We'll do it again.
Never know what happens, though, with traffic, and I would imagine we're going to see a little bit of it here any moment.
Battle heats up for 3rd. Chad McCumbee out in front of Matt Plum. It seems like Matt gets a great run, and then Chad seems to turn up the wick a little bit. I'm not sure if he's mirror driving a little bit and sees that blue and yellow car coming up on him, but nevertheless...
Yeah.
Chad McCumbee running in 3rd place right now, trying to hold on to it.
Yeah, and that's the best battle on the track right now. These guys are definitely going at it. In car with Matt right now as he's working on Chad.
And McCumbee right now keeping a pretty good line and keeping the car behind him, a Matt Plum, at bay. Matt seems to catch him a little bit, and then Chad puts the hammer down just a little bit faster, as it looks like Davis has caught Shane Van Gisbergen for the lead position. It's now nose to tail.
Yeah, what was 1.4 seconds is now 0.39, and closing, man. Brandon's going to be up on his bumper any second here.
We've seen this story before. Brandon Davis in 2nd place works up on the leader, and now is he going to try to make the pass? looking low on Shane going into the inner loop, working down that straightaway. He's going to get that draft. Does he make the move here?
Not yet. I'm starting to wonder if Van Gisbergen's tires are going a little bit, Tim. You know, tires definitely are a factor here. And 10 laps, not so much, but if Van Gisbergen was pushing a little too hard and Davis was holding back, that could be a difference.
Van Gisbergen out by about 3 car lengths on Brandon Davis, and that lead, as we mentioned before, was well over a second and a half. So he's lost that now. Maybe he was pushing the car a little bit harder than he should have been, or the car wanted to go, I should say. And now he has Davis right behind him, and Davis licking his chops. I know he wants that overall championship to take away the $1,500 for his charity, but I'm sure he wants the race win too.
Absolutely. And speaking of licking his chops, they got lap car of Cicero coming up right ahead of them, so he could definitely come into play.
Just behind them, Matt Plum has taken position number 3 away from Chad McCumbee. They continue to run nose to tail at this point. That battle is far from over. They are coming up on lap traffic, are your leaders. That's Dominic Cicero, and he was the driver that put it rear end into the wall on that big wreck out of the inner loop into the carousel. So he's got a brand new car now, and he's trying to stay on the lead lap, or check that, stay 1 lap down. Now he's going to go 2.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he is the last car running, and leaders got by him safely as they entered the inner loop there. They're approaching another lap car, as a matter of fact.
And that is Coleman Presley. Presley right now tail end of the lead lap at this point, so he's trying to stay on the lead lap in position number 16, but Shane closing in on him.
They get by Coleman cleanly.
So they'll come by this time and have 3 laps remaining. If you're Brandon Davis, you know you can get the draft on Shane going down one of these straightaways. Where's the passing zone here to really make that move for the win, and when does he make it?
Great question, Tim. The zones, he's going to have to be close enough to make it happen, though.
Working up through the S's, 3 laps remaining. Shane Van Gisbergen looking to hold on. Davis with the run, looking to close in down the straightaway, going in to the interloop. Can he get there? The interloop is right here, and he's not going to make the move at this point. We saw this story play out with Scott Speed at Charlotte, and coming down to the final couple of laps, they're going to have lap traffic in front of them. Darren Justin Wilson.
I think I spent all years here doing this with you.
Yeah, Justin was running some pretty decent times. I was looking 129s, so hopefully he doesn't make a difference in this. I would imagine he'll pull over if these guys get too close. Lots of chatter going on with these guys. Bobby Labonte, Landon Castle now talking. They're running 9th and 10th.
Much more friendly this way, isn't it?
Yep.
This time by 2 laps remaining for your leaders, as Shane Van Gisbergen and Brandon Davis going to settle this out amongst themselves unless something happens. Matt Plum and Chad McCumbee, Darren, are over 7 seconds behind.
I think he's going to wait to make a move, and they're coming up on Justin Wilson, too. Yep, Justin's pulling over for him. This could be a zone where he's going to make a try. Nope.
And it looks like that Davis gets a great run up the hill, but just can't seem to do anything with it through the extra portion of the racetrack. The first couple of corners, fantastic, it looks like, for Davis.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, there's only going to be a couple spots that he's going to be able to make this pass. These next couple corners up here are a little bit too fast unless Van Gisbergen makes a mistake. Brandon sure pressured him, though.
This time by, they're going to come to the white silk. One more lap remaining for Shane Van Gisbergen and Brandon Davis. Davis looking for an overall championship and also looking for this race win. Shane looking to take away the win after the blown motor at Charlotte. Here he
Davis
comes to the inside.
Let's see if he can make it stick. Van Gisbergen is not going to let up. Oh, Van Gisbergen wide off track. Able to maintain the lead. He's pretty much going to have one more shot here, Tim, going into the inner loop.
And if he doesn't make it there, Shane just hits his marks and he comes to the checkered flag. But obviously, when you have competition like Brandon Davis behind you, that's easier said than done.
Van Gisbergen holding the low line. What a great battle. Great clean battle through the inner outer loop into the carousel here for the last time.
He didn't get it done there. Can he get the run in the final couple of corners to make this happen? Brandon Davis working through the final couple of corners behind Shane Van Gisbergen, looking to take away the win. The other cars, Darren, are over 8 seconds behind. Bring us to the checkers.
Van Gisbergen through the final couple corners, keeping it clean. We talked about him in the race at Charlotte. Blew up at the line at Charlotte on the last lap. Looks like he's gonna take the checkered here at Watkins. Brandon's making a run at him. Shane Van Gisbergen takes the win at Watkins Glen.
Good win.
Battle for third coming up off the final couple of corners, side by side, and Chad McCumbee takes position number 3. Matt Plum comes home position number 4. We're going to have a battle for 5th. It looks like it will be the Matthew Halliday machine. Coming home in 5th, Plowman in 6th, Kimmel, Brown, Labonte, and Castle. Unofficially, your top 10 here.
It was in that yellow car.
Wow, what a battle there to the line there, Tim, for first and second and
Kevin,
third and
this
fourth.
was awesome. Thank you for the invite, and I can't wait for the next race. I'll get out here.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. That was awesome.
Let's listen into some of the chatter here if we can.
Although I think I'll practice a little more next time.
That was Dominic Cicero.
I think I know who won.
Brandon Davis. Timmy Hill coming to the line. Some of these guys are still finishing up their races.
Thanks, sir.
Looks like Brandon Davis is going to be our champion today. He's going to take home $1,500, or well, actually, his charity is going to take home $1,500, and it's for Special Operations Warrior Foundation.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
All right, we're going to hand it down to Tim Terry. He's with Shane Van Gisbergen, our winner today. Tim, you got us?
Let's see if we can't get a hold of our winner, Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane, what a run to the finish of the race. Walk us through those final couple of laps.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I backed off early to let Brandon back in the tow to make it a bit more fun. So, yeah, it was pretty cool at the end. So thanks for everyone for putting it on.
What a fantastic event. I know you've had some good runs in the past here on iRacing. Charlotte, though, a little bit of a downer. What happened at Charlotte at those final couple of laps?
Oh, I had an issue with my gear lever. It flicked down to second gear and blew the motor, which was a bit unfortunate. But that was all right on the road race. Pretty fun. And racing against a few of those guys, had to take a bit of a nervous one before the race, but it was a bit of fun.
I know there's been some guys on the grid here throwing down a little bit of smack talk. I guess you get to throw down the smack.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.
As Tommy Kendall chimes in there, is there any smack talk you want to give to some of these guys, Shane, after this race?
Oh, that was just fun racing with some of those guys, and yeah, I'll be keen for the next one, that's for sure.
Now, before we let you go, I know we're all racing for charity here this evening. Tell us a little bit about your charity.
Yeah, mine's the Ronald McDonald House in Australia and New Zealand. We do a fair bit of work for them with my race team in Australia and my my sponsor, SP Tools. So, yeah, it's good to help out the kids, and hopefully this goes a little bit of way to helping them out.
There we go. There's your winner of the road race here at Watkins Glen, Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane, once again, congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
See if we can slide in here and talk to Brandon Davis. Brandon, the overall winner, $1,500 going to your charity. 2 second-place runs here at Charlotte and Watkins Glen. What a night for you.
Yeah, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? But I'll take it on this one. It was unfortunate to see what happened to Scott on that first lap getting wrecked. I think we all would have had a good race. I appreciate Shane kind of letting me get back into the draft. I think lap times wise we were pretty similar, but with the lead he had, I think the draft was the only way I was going to catch him. So I had a nice little run with him there at the end, and this was a lot of fun.
And a lot of fun raising money for your charity, $1,500 going towards your charity. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm racing for the Special Warriors Operations Fund, which basically gives money to the families of special ops guys that get killed in the line of duty and whatnot. So it's a good cause.
There's your winner, Brandon Davis. Congratulations on the big win. You are the first iRacing Pro Race of Champions champion.
Thank you.
I see we have a couple of extras in here. Let's see if Tommy Kendall has his ears on. Tommy, great run for you here this evening. I know you wanted a little bit more, though.
That's not. You're being very generous calling that a great run. It was a run. Of all the runs I've ever had, it was one of them.
I know you were throwing down a lot of smack talk there in the race server. Did you win any side bets tonight?
You got the wrong guy. I've never been as unprepared for a race since my first go-kart race. So this was exactly what happens when you throw someone on who's never done it. I actually did better on the oval than I did on the road course, which was a little bit surprising. I'm not sure what that says. Maybe I chose the wrong career path.
And being your first time on here, what's your first impression of the iRacing service?
Well, I mean, it's like anything. You got to get some seat time. Obviously, I think if you've driven, you probably pick it up quicker than someone that just started cold. But these guys make it look easy, and so now this is why I never started when I was in college. Long before iRacing, I was afraid I'd never make it through school. But I think it's got me now. I don't want to be this horrible, so I'm going to have to start logging some laps.
So we're going to see you as the second annual iRacing Pro Racing champion, right?
10-4. I got to drop a little weight and get a little more serious about this, get some seat time in, and look for money.
There we go. There's Tommy Kendall. And let's see if we can slide over here. Ron Capps, you got your ears on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Talk about the run here this evening. I know you've been on iRacing for a few years. It's great to get out here and swap a little bit of pain, eh?
Yeah, it was fun. I was thinking, I went around a corner there near the end of the road race, and I would look up my mirror, and Tommy Kendall was behind me, and I thought, not too many guys can say that they had Tommy Kendall breathing down their neck, but it was fun. Soon after that, I got put in the wall, but it was kind of a battle of attrition for a while. But I tell you, man, I was as nervous between these two races. I know a lot of guys were talking about how they were nervous too, but it's funny how you can get on a computer like this and feel that realistic.
And it's great to get out here and race with other drivers from other disciplines. Of course, with NHRA, you got Tommy Kendall out here who races road races, and then you got guys like Bobby Labonte who are turning left every week. It's a great time to get everybody together, right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously the charity, and that's all fun. It's kind of like the prelude of the dream that I do every year with Tony Stewart. Everybody talks about how much money we're going to give away and how fun it's going to be, and then you put your helmet on, and the horns pop out at the top. You got Scott Speed telling people to get out of the way, and a lot of really good race car drivers kind of screaming at guys to get out of the way, and it just gets so serious. It's awesome, man. I can't believe the talent you guys put together here in iRacing with all these guys, and I'm sure the second one there'll be people trying to get into it. But thanks again for putting it on, man. I had a blast.
And we thank you for coming out once again, Ron Capps, driver of the number 8 in the Watkins Glen International race. Let's see if we can slide over here and talk to Martin Plowman. He was second place overall. Martin, great run for you this evening. I see Martin has slid away. He's got no microphone, so I guess we won't be able to talk to him. Of course, these drivers racing from the comfort of their own home. Bobby Labonte, you got your ears on?
Yep, sure do.
Great run for you this evening, and I know you were through the pack a little bit. We saw you trading a little bit of paint throughout the races.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Didn't qualify very good, but both races fairly consistent, and had a good time. These guys, a lot of guys that spend a lot of time on here and do a lot of racing, and I've spent some time on it, but always a lot of fun, and good to do this.
And it showed at the Charlotte Motor Speedway with a top 10 run there, and I know you do a lot of hours on this iRacing service. I've seen you do the roadside, and I've seen you practicing on the oval side as well. You spend a lot of time on iRacing.
Yeah, I mean, I do. It's kind of hard sometimes to find the time that you want to dedicate to it. I kind of jump on it and do more playing than anything else. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing, the graphics, and fortunately, I was able to meet Dave Kramer many years ago at working with Papyrus. So have enjoyed seeing this grow, and enjoyed working with him and seeing him be successful at this as well, and everybody at iRacing.
And I know coming down to the finish of the road race, you had a battle with Landon Castle. Of course, the Landon Castle qualifying. He hosts the Landon Castle qualifying challenge each year. You and Landon down to the end of the road race had a battle.
Yeah, I think he fell off there a little bit at the end, but I was catching Colin pretty good there, and just finished right behind him. So I think he was in front of me at Charlotte as well. So yeah, good race for me and him both to finish. It was a little bit of a kind of a battle as far as trying to dodge a few things as well. So both of us did that.
And we'll see you for the second annual iRacing Pro Racing Champions, won't we?
Oh yeah, yep, sounds great. Thanks a lot.
That's Bobby Labonte. Let's see if we can't catch up with Justin Wilson. Justin, you had a great run going at the road course and also doing well at the oval. Talk about your run this evening on iRacing.
Sorry, I was pressing the wrong button, but I'm here now. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think Tommy Kendall summed it up best. It was a run. It wasn't anything to talk about. Had a few incidents there, but it was a lot of fun. It's good to be part of this and come and race with these guys. And just got to thank iRacing for putting it on.
The one thing me and Darren talked about over the evening is the drivers that spend a lot of time on here. You have an A-class license on the roadside. I know you spend a lot of time on the Indycars with 16th Street Racing League as well. There's just so much to do on this iRacing service, isn't there?
Yeah, there's so many different cars to drive, so you can take your pick, whether it's oval, road course, or the saloon cars or open wheel. So yeah, I like driving all the different cars, getting used to them, different tracks. It's fun, and it's a great tool as well. So you can learn a lot on here, and definitely learn tracks before you get to the racetrack.
That's Justin Wilson coming home this evening with a run in the iRacing Pro Racer Champions. I see Frank Kimmel II is here as well. Frank, you got your ears on?
Sure do, Tim.
Great run here this evening. You were up in front there in the Charlotte race as well, doing a little bit of paint swapping up in front.
Yeah, a little bit of paint swapping isn't too bad, but both races before halfway we bent some parts, I think, and both cars went a little ill handling, but we stayed right in there and battled as hard as we could. But this is a lot of fun. You got to thank iRacing and all the guys that put this on. I mean, not too many guys like myself can say they get to race against David Reagan, Bobby Labonte, and Shane Van Gisberg. I mean, a lot of fun doing this, and hope to be back.
Mentioned with Justin, 16th Street Racing League. You do a little bit of racing on the side as well in the hosted sessions, which is great on the iRacing service. I know you do a little bit of GS racing action. Where else can we see you racing on the iRacing service?
Well, with this new tire model, this is really my first time in the MX-5. I've been a real big fan of the trucks and also the street stock. That's probably one of my most fun cars, at least in with the new tire model. So I always like to slide into a street stock race, or the new C6 series is a lot of fun. So I don't stick to one car. I like to pick a few and just play around, have some fun.
And you mentioned the new tire model, iRacing 2.0. It's really enhanced the service, hasn't it?
Yeah, the cars, when I first started last September, they were a lot of fun to drive. They just didn't have the feel, and they've made a big stride getting these cars to drive a lot better. And I mean, street stock's getting really close, being that I've had so many laps in that, and never driven a truck before. But I don't know. Sometimes I'm glad I don't. You see the way my race is in, but service is awesome. Even on the road side, as much time as I spend out in the grass, the cars drive pretty good.
And showed it with the top 10 run here at Watkins Glen International. That's Frank Kimmel II. Let's see if we can't talk to David Reagan now, driver in the second race of the number 18 car. David, you got your ears on? So it looks like David Reagan may have stepped away for just a few moments' time. Let's see if we can't talk to Matt Plum, finished in a third overall here this evening. Matt, what a run for you.
Oh, man, I'm sweating over here.
And a great show, $250 going to your charity. Talk about your charity of choice here this evening.
My charity is the Be Positive Foundation. It was started by this very good guy, Joe McDonough, who lost a son to pediatric cancer. And he collects money, goes around the country, visits hospitals. And the unique thing about that, his deal is that he basically gives the money to the parents of sick children, and allows them to use it for everyday spending, things that a lot of insurance companies don't take into account, and a really cool deal.
And made them proud with the run here this evening. Finished in fourth place at Watkins Glen, but I tell you what, you and Chad had such a great battle all throughout that race.
Yeah, I think I timed my pass a little too early. I thought maybe if I waited out for a bit and made a pass and got some lap traffic in between us, I could have gapped him. But with that draft, he got up behind me, and that last pass there gave him a little bit of room. I think I gave him too much.
And let's see if we can't bring in Chad McCumbee. Chad, what a battle. Matt told his side of the story. Talk about the run with Matt Plum there at the end to finish third.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. The road race stuff, I was fortunate enough to get to run with C.J. Wilson Racing and the Playboy MX-5 Cup one time last year, and I was always new to road racing, and once we did that, I came on here and started doing a whole lot of road racing on iRacing, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to get by him that way, but I was planning on doing it the last lap, but I hadn't figured out how I was going to do it till the end, but that was a blast.
And iRacing is one of those tools that really sharpen your skills for a road course, eh?
Oh, absolutely. You know, just learning different tracks. And I ran Lime Rock when I went and raced with those guys in the Playboy Cup. And before I went, I spent a lot of time on here just getting shift points down. And when I got to the track, I really think it helped so much. And what I found is when you actually go to a track and then come back and do it on the sim, that's when you really can make a whole lot of gains. And just repetition and knowing what points you're looking for. That's where it's really been a big thing for me.
And definitely showed your skills this evening with a third-place run at Watkins Glen. Guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us here this evening and taking some time out to join us in the post-race show.
So a fantastic run by all those guys, and once again, want to thank those guys for joining us here this evening, taking time out of their busy schedules to join us. Darren, what an event. I can't wait for next year. Can we do this all over again, like next week?
Yeah, next year, man. I'm thinking like next couple of weeks here or next month. This needs to be happening pretty regularly. The guys sounded like they were really excited about it.
And I see Sean Seff has maybe stepped away for just a few moments' time. Was going to get his thoughts on the end of the race. Got to be a fantastic race. Here's Sean now. You got to be thrilled with the way this came out.
We all are. This was just an awesome event. It went better than we thought. The racing was more exciting than we thought, and we really hope that all the iRacing members and people from around the world who tuned in to see this had a great time. I know we did over here at the office.
And you really got to get involved in the service. If you have not already, head to iRacing.com and get signed up. The holidays are coming, makes for a great gift. New members can buy 1 month and get 2 for free. And you can get involved whether you are a road course junkie or whether you like the ovals. This is such a great piece of software to get in and stay sharp. And I know I was talking to Mike Alexander, who races a late model at Scotia Speed World, the track that I announce at, and he said, I think he summed it up best for some of these guys, it's something to keep your skills sharp during the winter. You get to run in traffic, you get to run against other people, you get to hit your marks on specific tracks. It's just such a great tool to learn, and as we heard from some of those guys in the post-race show.
Absolutely it is, and hopefully we get to see this happen again. That was a lot of fun, and as a matter of fact, we're going to have a post-race report on Inside Sim Racing this week. Jessica Lopez is going to be on the show, and we'll have some replays and some thoughts about the race. And this was quite an event, and man, iRacing is just the perfect place to put it on.
Once again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here this evening on iRacing.com and PSR TV. Congratulations to Scott Speed and Shane Van Gisbergen, who won their respective races on the oval and the road. And congratulations to Brandon Davis, who walks away with $1,500 for his charity here this evening. And great runs by all the drivers, and I can't wait for event number 2 that happens. Coming up in January, you want to check out PSR TV's Facebook and Twitter to keep up to date. We have the finales for the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series and the iRacing Road Pro Series. If you've been following those 2 series on the service, man, what a battle those are coming down to be. Atsi Kirchhoff, of course, is dominating on the road side, but the oval wide open for the taking. Nick Ottinger's come on strong the last couple of weeks. Check out PSR TV's Facebook and Twitter. That's facebook.com/PSR TV and twitter.com/PSR TV for all the programming updates on those 2 races. They will happen in January. You will want to be here for those. And then we go racing in February with the Drivers' World Championships for road and oval. That's going to do it for us here this evening on iRacing.com and PSR TV. So for the full crew, we have Ilka Happala, Zach Stanko, Ian Bushing, Chuck Johnson, my co-host this evening, Darren Ganji, and Matt Racing Kid Thomas. My name is Tim Terry, saying we will see you next time when we say let's go racing, keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.